Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're taking a deep dive into the most complex machine in the entire known universe. And, it's the one that's sitting right inside your head. We're going way down into its oldest, most hidden parts to really understand what makes you, well, you.
I mean, really think about that for a second. Before you make any decision or feel an emotion or even just take a breath, there's this incredibly ancient, complex system already humming along, running the entire show from behind the curtain.
So, we're going to take a journey from the very foundation of your brain. I'm talking the parts that handle pure, raw instinct, and work our way all the way up to the centers of emotion and memory. We're going to see exactly how this incredible machine builds and runs your reality. Okay, so let's get into it. Your brain doesn't just pop into existence fully formed. No, it builds itself from the most ancient, instinctual parts first, and then it builds upwards. It's kind of like constructing a skyscraper, right? You start with a deep foundation, and then you build all the way up to the penthouse.
This right here is the bedrock. It's the oldest part of our brain, and it manages all the core functions that keep us alive. Things like breathing, heart rate, balance, all the stuff we never, ever have to think about. It's basically our built-in life support system.
All right, our first official stop on the tour, the brain stem. The easiest way to think about this is as your body's essential, non-stop autopilot. It connects the brain to the spinal cord, and it just manages the absolute essentials 24/7.
And this autopilot has a crew. First up, you've got the medulla. Think of it as the engine room, just keeping your heart beating and your lungs breathing without you ever noticing. Then there's the pons, which is kind of like the bridge, handling your sleep cycles and relaying messages. And finally, the midbrain. That's your lookout, handling lightning-fast reflexes, like when you pull your hand from a hot stove before your brain even registers the pain. It's a perfectly coordinated, silent system.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Even these deep, automatic systems aren't totally walled off. They're covered in receptors for brain chemicals like serotonin. And what that means is anything that messes with your serotonin levels can subtly influence your most basic functions. It just goes to show you that in the brain, no part is truly an island.
Okay, moving up from that deep foundation, we're now arriving at the subcortical regions. If the brainstem is the autopilot, then this area, well, this is the brain's central command hub, sorting all the traffic and directing it where to go.
Just imagine Grand Central Station during rush hour. That's your thalamus. Every single thing you see, hear, and feel passes through here first. It's the ultimate sensory switchboard, taking in all that data and shouting, okay, you go here, you go there, directing it all to the right parts of your brain to be processed.
Now check out this chain reaction. This is your stress response. The moment you sense a threat, real or imagined, your hypothalamus pulls the fire alarm. And that kicks off this powerful hormonal cascade that ends with your body getting flooded with cortisol, the stress hormone. It's an ancient, incredibly fast alarm system that puts your entire body on high alert in an instant.
And right next door, you've got the basal ganglia. This is the part of your brain that lets you ride a bike without even thinking about it. It's the engine of habit, It reinforces behaviors with little reward signals, and it's responsible for everything from learning a new skill to the powerful patterns of addiction.
Our tour is now reaching, I think, its most fascinating destination, the limbic system. We're moving beyond all the automatic stuff and into the very heart of our emotional world. This is where feelings, memories, and our deepest motivations are born. And in here, you see this incredible balancing act happening. The amygdala, that's your brain's threat detector. It just slams the gas pedal on fear and anxiety. But right next to it, you've got the hippocampus, which provides context and memory. It's basically the brakes, telling the system, whoa, hang on, we've seen this before. It's okay, we survived.
And that sensitivity is so important. See, because the hippocampus is soaking in all that cortisol, chronic stress can actually damage it. And when it gets damaged, it gets weaker, making it harder for it to hit the brakes on the stress response. And that creates a really dangerous feedback loop of anxiety.
So, if these deep, powerful systems are so ancient and so hardwired, can they ever really be changed? Well, this is where modern science is uncovering some absolutely fascinating possibilities for, believe it or not, rewiring our own brains.
So how could this rewiring even work? Let's look at this one really cool early study. Scientists were asking a huge question. Could psilocybin, yep, the compound in magic mushrooms, actually reach down and change those deep-seated automatic brain patterns that fuel cravings for people with alcohol use disorder?
Okay, now I gotta be really clear here. This was a tiny preliminary study. We're talking only 6 people. So this is not a final conclusion by any means. Think of it more like a signpost, pointing in a very, very interesting direction.
But here's the key finding. After the psilocybin, brain activity literally shifted. It actually moved away from those deep, automatic craving centers and towards the newer, more conscious parts of the brain that are responsible for making deliberate choices. It was almost like the brain was switching from being a passenger driven by habit to actually grabbing the steering wheel itself.
So what could possibly be the physical mechanism for this kind of rewiring? Well, it might come down to something called neurogenesis. Remember how we said chronic stress can literally kill cells in the hippocampus? Well, some early research suggests that certain compounds might do the exact opposite. They might actually encourage the birth of brand new brain cells, especially in that supercritical region.
And really, this is why all this research is so exciting. This potential to rewire our brains, to build new connections, maybe even grow new cells. It could open up entirely new ways for us to heal and reshape the deep emotional circuits that sit at the very core of our mental health.
So this whole journey into our deep brain, it leaves us with a pretty profound question, doesn't it? If our oldest, deepest, most powerful brain circuits can actually be rewired, what does that mean for the future of healing, and maybe even for human potential itself? Thanks for joining us on this tour of the mind.